Well, the ACLU and public counsel also taking on ICE, accusing the agency in a lawsuit of breaking several laws during raids.
A federal judge expected to make a decision on the lawsuit today. KCAL's Jeff Nguyen here now with what's behind the lawsuit and what happens next, Jeff.
So Amy and Juan, the hope from the plaintiffs in this case is that the judge would issue her written order sometime today. And at issue in this case, accusations of racial profiling and access to lawyers for detainees. And critics are concerned what the Trump administration will do if the ruling doesn't go its way. This video of Brian Gavidia is at the heart of a federal lawsuit challenging the federal immigration operations in Southern California. Gavidia says he was stopped by Border Patrol agents because he was racially profiled.
Give me that due process. That's what made me angry. They're not respecting the Constitution.
On Thursday, federal judge Maame Owusu-Mensah Frimpong, a Biden nominee, issued a tentative opinion suggesting she would order the Trump administration to pause stops and arrests that the ACLU, public counsel, and about half a dozen cities, including LA, call illegal.
And it is sweeping up individuals, not based on any sort of information, not based on any sort of reasonable suspicion.
Bill Asaley is the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California. He says people are not being arrested based on skin color.
All these are not criminal cases. All these are administrative. We do not need a warrant to apprehend someone who's in the country unlawfully.
The facility was closed for 2 weeks, so there was no access to lawyers at that facility.
Lawyers and the plaintiffs in the case say people detained have been denied due process and access to legal representation, which is protected regardless of legal status.
When we were in the middle of a riot and we had hundreds or thousands of people surrounding the building, yes, there were periods of time where we had to close the detention facilities and limit access to attorneys.
Critics have taken issue with how the Trump administration handled the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia after the Supreme Court ordered the White House to facilitate his return, and a federal judge's oral order to have planes turned around after they were headed to El Salvador. Constitutional law professor Jessica Levinson says appealing lower court decisions isn't defiance.
In response to losses in the federal court system, the Trump administration is going very aggressively to the Supreme Court saying we need emergency relief.
We follow court orders, and we will exercise our authority to appeal when appropriate and take it up to a higher court.
Now, we did mention a tentative opinion from the judge in that report that is typically done in federal courts before lawyers in a case present their arguments. It offers a roadmap so that the two sides are focused instead of going on tangents. However, a judge could ultimately issue a ruling that is completely different. Juan.